Tonight is 10 different keys, 10 keys. And there's a whole lot more than just 10. Just like we know there's a whole lot more than just 10 commandments. But I just wanted to encourage us tonight on some things that we need to remember and remind ourselves, because it's so easy through life, through distractions, through getting busy, that we sometimes forget and we're like, oh yeah, there's some things I need to really concentrate on. So let's get started tonight. Let's go to Matthew chapter 22, if you would, verse 36 through 40. It says, Master, which the great commandment in the law? Yeshua said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. We know we've heard this 1,000 times, but let me tell you something. Sometimes we can get distracted from this, all right? But I'm going to tell you the importance of this in just a second. Keep going. This is the first and what? Great commandment, all right? Next verse. And the second likened to it, this is the one that, it's easy to do the first one because we can do that without some people realizing it, or not do it without some people realizing it. But this one right here really tells us, because this is when the rubber hits the road. The second, like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as what? As thyself. All right? Go to verse 40 and watch this. On these two commandments hang what? All the law and the prophets. So this is first and foremost number one key that we need to realize, and we need to keep that thing before us, that we've got to love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and our neighbor as ourself. Because love is the basis of everything that we need to do. We've always said if love is not our motive, then we have no right to even do anything. If I'm talking to you and what I'm saying to you isn't with love, then I need to probably just shut my mouth sometimes. But if I love you, and you love me, we should be able to talk to one another and know that, hey, I'm not attacking you, you're not attacking me, I'm not against you, I'm for you, and that's how iron sharpens iron, okay? But first and foremost, because just on those two hang all the law, all right? Number two here is Matthew 10:28, if you'll go there quickly. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. I was talking to somebody a couple of weeks ago about this very thing. They didn't quite understand. They don't come here, but they don't quite understand, the second death. And I was trying to explain all that to them. But basically, hey, if we're more scared of somebody breaking into our house than we are God, we better back up and check some things here. Because let me tell you, this death is just temporal. But him who has control over the second death, the last death, if we don't get a well done and we get put into that thing, there is no more resurrection. That's why it's called the eternal death. The eternal, it's over with. There's no more chance of a resurrection. That is the one that we need to be concerned about. That is the one that we need to stay focused on. That is the one that we need to keep our mind set upon those things. That. So often we set so much of our worries and our money and things that rob us from all of our peace on things that are temporal in this world. It says here, look, we don't need to be concerned about that. Well, I don't want anybody to kill me. Well, absolutely, I don't either. But I'm telling us this, it's better for that to happen than for us to go to the second death. Because eventually that's going to happen in time if Yeshua doesn't return. We're all going to come to that place to where we're going to die. We're all going to get there. But the most important thing that we must keep before us is, I need to make sure I'm not going to take place of the second death, that I'm going to be resurrected and I'm going to be judged and I'm going to do what I've been told to do, what Apostle Johnny's told us to do. I've been obedient to the word. I've lived my life to the best of my ability by the Ruach of God who has empowered me to be obedient to what he's called me to do and what he's called me to be, so I will get a well done. So don't get caught up in these things that are so temporal, even to the point of death. Now that's a big word. Big word. But the bigger word is the second death. All right? Fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell, Gehenna. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 21. These are the first three that are pretty quick that we're teaching on. 1 Corinthians 3:21. Therefore let no man glory in who? In who? In men. For all things are yours. That kind of goes with the second one. And that also kind of goes with the first one. Because what we'll do, we will love ourselves more than we love God. So we'll do things to keep us, all the temporal things here on the earth, than being more concerned about things that are eternal, that are going to happen. And what we'll do, we'll want the glory of man. We'll do things to say, hey, you kind of see what I did? Or we'll mention it. You ever done that? You ever mentioned something that you did and all you wanted to do was be told how good it was? Is anybody breathing? Okay. Hey, did you hear about what I said the other day? Hey, did you know that I did this? Hey, we want the glory of man. And there's nothing wrong with that if we're giving God the glory. If the guy says, man, that's awesome. Bottom line is, it's to God's glory. So we can't take up our time, our money, our substance, and everything that we do every day in order to get the glory of men. Because I'm telling you this, that glory of men will change on a dime and give you 9-cent change. I've seen it happen. I've talked to a guy one time when I worked at a window company in town. We were talking about something, and he laughed about it. And I promise you, 3 minutes later, we talked about the same thing, and he was ready to fight. I'm like, what? You just laughed about it. So I'm here to tell us, guys, don't try to get the glory of men, because that glory will be wartime and a dime, but it'll change like that. But I'm here to tell you, when we are concerned about glorifying our Father who changes not, who will get us into what we're talking about, bypassing that second death, I want him to be glorified. I want him to be pleased by what I do, not so concerned about what somebody else does. Now, I'm not talking about it's okay to be a jerk to them. I'm not talking about it. You know, being a jerk to somebody probably ain't going to give glory to the Lord. You know, if we got a wrong heart about something, that ain't going to give glory to the Lord. But that's what we can't get distracted and say, what I'm doing right now, is that glorifying God? We need to keep that before us, because it's so easy through our time and our business and everything that all of a sudden these things creep up. Well, I can make a lot of money if I just twist this word and I can say this and think that he's that to make money. Is that glorifying God? Or are we want the glory of man, meaning I want the glory, not just somebody else. I want the glory. We do things. Keep it before us, guys. Keep it before us. That word glory, it means to vault in a good or bad sense, to make boast. Look what I did. And we can get real subtle about how we throw that out there. It's kind of like throwing out there that bait for that fish. We can just kind of throw that out there and to get recognized. There's nothing wrong with getting recognized. But if that's our purpose and our goal, and it's not to bring glory to God, then all of a sudden we're worried about getting glory for our own self. And all of a sudden that glory isn't for other men. It's basically for me. I want the glory. Well, I want the glory for men. Why? For me. I'd rather him be pleased with that. It also means to glory, to joy, and to rejoice. 2 Corinthians 10, 17 through 18. If you'll go there. It says, but he that glorieth, let him glory in who? The Lord. Keep going. For not he that commendeth himself is approved, but whom the Lord commendeth. There's an old saying, Pastor John, you may help me with this. It's, you called, mama called, so called, or something like that, about someone who wants their, hey, Yeshua, can my 2 sons sit with you? Can they sit with you? Hey, I can commend myself to be approved. No, we better let the Lord commend us. Because when the bottom line, and when the rubber hits the road, and when it's all said and done, when we're at that place, it don't matter what person has ever commended us. What matters is the one person that says, well done, my good and faithful servant, or depart from me, you work of iniquity. That's got to be where we're geared to. That's got to be where we're focused to. That's got to be where we're consistent with after those things which are above. And again, there's nothing wrong with having things. You understand what I'm saying? But it's easy when our pride and stuff steps out and we just want to, but I'll just do it in my own flesh. Hey, I'm committed himself to be approved. I can just do it. I'll just do it. No. Hey, it's not by might nor by power, but it's by his Spirit. Verse 18. It is 18. Okay. Go to that word commended. It means to set together, to introduce favorably. Hey, you're pretty good. Or hey, I'm pretty good. To exhibit, to stand near, or to constitute, to approve, to commend, to consist, to make, and to stand. That's what that word commendeth means. If you go to Mark 1:11. And there came a voice from heaven, and what did it say? Well, 3 of y'all can read. Read it together. Thou art my... That's the commendment we need to look for. Again, we can't put so much effort and time and money because you ever gone and done something, you spent more money on something you wanted to spend it on, and then when something that really came up that you really needed, you didn't have the money to do it because you did this? That's a sick feeling, isn't it? The sickest feeling of all eternity, guys, is when we've done all this stuff here, and then when it comes to the point of where it matters, where we get a well done or depart from me, oh, if only I would have taken, if only I would have listened, and I would have obeyed and did the things that would make this happen instead of it wasting on these things, which at that time and moment absolutely means nothing. So we can get down and out, we can get depressed, we can get upset when we don't get these things here that we want and we can't get it. Has anybody been that way before? You can all stand up and say, yes, count me in on that. Anybody ever did a baby tantrum because we wasn't able to get maybe what we wanted here? Probably. I wanted that. And I couldn't get it because of this. I got to do this. It happens every day when people, when they come to the ecclesia and they're not giving, because that becomes second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth if I can afford it because I want this. I want to commend this. I want the glory of this instead of saying, Yahweh, I'm serving you. I'm giving you because I know. So we've been talking about, he hit it the other day. It's all about, say all about. See, it's all about that day. It's all about that day. And the same way that if we sin, then there's not that result of immediate punishment, may be, may not be, then we feel like, it ain't that big of a deal. Same way with that, guys. Just because we may not see that, and one of the reasons we may not see that is because we're not keeping it before us. And we're not headed that way, and that's our goal, that's our standard. We're heeding and we're listening and we're obeying. and not complaining, but we're obeying for that day. I promise you, that day is going to come, whether it is a well done or it is a depart from me and you work of iniquity. That day will come just as much as you believe that tomorrow is Thursday morning. So we need to take that as face value of what it is and believe that more than we believe tomorrow's going to come, because let me tell you something, that ain't promised. Tomorrow is not promised, but we take it for granted. We go to Daytona because we want to see the sunrise. Or some people go to cross the river to see the sunrise. Somebody we know. Hey, let me tell you something. That may not happen, but I promise you, Ecclesia, that will absolutely come to pass. We can't pay it off. We can't run from it. We can't even die from it. That is going to come. So I want to encourage us. Let's stay focused on what really matters, because we're not promised anything here, but we're promised that day. Everything is about that day. What we do is about that day. What we don't do is about that day. How we have an attitude, good or bad, is about that day. So we need to keep our mind and our eyes focused on things that are eternal and not get caught up on the needing glory of men. Hey, is God happy? I talked to a lot of people, and I said, look, are you obeying Yeshua? Yeah. Are you doing what his word says? Yeah. Are you believe he's pleased with you? Yeah. Okay, then don't worry about it. But don't lie to yourself. Oh, yeah, he is. He's okay with my adultery. He said it was fine. It's crazy. There came a voice from heaven, thou art my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. There's a reason why he was well pleased. It was not just because he was his son, but it was because he was his son. You understand what I'm saying? Because when we are obedient and we have an Abba Father, we are adopted into being sonship. But even that is not complete until that day. That day. Yeah. I got plenty of time. That day. That day. The testimony that Stephanie gave tonight about her friend was in an accident and she was able to go home. But the other lady, I guess it was a lady, dead. Take it for granted. I got all these plans. There's nothing wrong with having plans. But they can't come and take the place of that day. That's what it's all about. Huge key with that. Will, please. Go to Matthew 25:21. Kind of says the same thing, but it adds a little more to it. His Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. I was talking to somebody, and I told him this. We've said this in the house here. People want a well done without doing anything well. They want to get rewarded being good when they didn't do anything good. And they want to be rewarded as being faithful when they wasn't faithful. And then they want to get rewarded as being a servant when they haven't been a servant. And we know that's the American gospel. That is the no tryout baseball team, the Little League baseball team. People will go crazy now because their child has to try out and might not make the team. When we played Little League, Southern Little League, there was a mother that was livid. I mean, we thought we had to call the police on her. I mean, she was livid because her son did not make the team. He wasn't any good. And guess what, guys? There's things that we got to do to make the team. Well, I got 3 spots left. And I got 12 people here. Somebody's not going to make it. Somebody's not going to make it. And what a horrendous, horrific thing it would be that somebody in this house would be one of those. What a waste that would be. What a waste. To be able to be here and sit here and hear the word. I talked to a married couple that used to come here. And they were at a restaurant, they asked me to come over, and we were just talking. This is when they were kind of in and out a little bit. And they were talking about this dream that they had about these demonic things. I looked at them like, yeah, they were like at the end of the bed. They were just, I'm like, what? That was like rushing to me. How could you be in this house a month, not including years? And she asked me this, do you really believe that there's no devil like that and demons? I said, absolutely, I believe that there's no devil and no demons that you're talking about. I said, how can you be in this house and sit here and not believe it? And I know none of y'all are that way, but I wanted to warn us. We're moving. We're going. We're not just sitting here stagnant. We're moving. Don't get left behind. Don't get run over. Come on. And I told him this, and I'm just simple, and this is my explanation of what about the devil that they believe. Of course, this couple love their kids. They love their grandbabies, really love their grandbabies. Kids are like, grandbabies are. I got a grandbaby right back there. She's 7'3". She just turned 16 the other day. Uh-oh. Hey, and Yahweh blessed her with a free car. I told her today I had to take her to basketball practice and being the granddaddy. Some people got to do everything around here. And she said, I got a car. I said, you did? They've been looking and looking and looking. And she said, I got it for free. They said, but it's in Texas. And they said, we either got to go drive it or they'll ship it for a certain amount. I said, ship it. Ship it. By the time you pay for gas and the arguments and the fuss and then drive 2 vehicles back or fly, whatever. Anyway, I was glad for her. And I said, that sounds like Yahweh to me. Ain't that right? That's right. She said she didn't care what kind it was. Anyway, so I was telling this family, I said, look, I said, it's kind of like this. How much do you love your babies? Oh, yeah. How much you love your grandbaby? Oh, yeah, they're my life. They're my world. I said, well, let me ask you something. Would you, being of the flesh, you know what the Bible says, if me being evil would give stone to those that ask my child to ask for bread, would I give them a stone? No. Would they ask for fish? Would I give them a serpent? No. And that's me being evil. I wouldn't do this. I said, now if you had your grandbabies and you were doing stuff and you needed to take your grandbabies to a place and they needed to stay with a guy that was a pedophile, would you send your grandbabies to that house knowing good and well that the guy that is going to be there, that they're going to have to walk with, that they're going to have to deal with, all these things, that he is a pedophile? You can look his name up. Look, there it is right on the chart. You can buy that paper for $1.99. It's got them all lined up. There he is. Would you send your grandbabies to that guy so he could, get to know them or mingle with them or whatever? Would you let them stay in that same house as that pedophile? What? No way. That'd be stupid. I said, well, how much more stupider? That's a word, trust me. When I'm talking to them about this is a word. Stupider to believe that our Heavenly Father, who is love, would bring His creation and send it to a place where there's this evil, wicked, spiritual being, Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, everything that he's talked about, would take his children and send them to deal with that? How stupid is that? Now that's a $39.95, so you can use that now to say, if someone's talking to you about Satan, I'm like, what? God would send his babies, his creation, there to deal with that? This spiritual being that Apostle Johnny said the other day, that God barely, right at the last minute of the last round, did a lucky hook and knocked Satan out and won the victory. What? Come on. So, let's be careful that we can even come in this house Wednesdays and Sundays, and it just become words and not life, because these are the words of life coming out of this house. I promise you that. I promise you. And we don't grab a hold to it, or we all of a sudden say, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, they preached that the other day, or whatever. And that ain't going on. I'm just warning us. Because let me tell you, what will happen is this train's moving, and you think you're on the train. And all of a sudden, the train ain't there anymore. All of a sudden, guys, we'll find a reason not to be here. And guess what? It's going to be his fault. And I'll even take a part of it with you, bro. Yeah. It's going to be his fault. Because it ain't us. I guarantee you that. It ain't us. It ain't us. So I'm warning us, guys. Let's don't get slack. Almost brought my cowbell. Hey, this ain't. Remember I talked about this ain't a practice run. Hey, all right. Ready? Hey, all right. I'm good. No, we got to finish the race. And when we hear that bell going, buddy, we better put it on. Now is not the time to get slack. Now is not the time to get lukewarm. Now is not the time. And guess what? Tomorrow ain't going to be the time. Friday ain't going to be the time. Saturday ain't going to be the time. And we can enjoy that and do all that and still can have the sweat of our brow wiped. Ain't that great? Thankful for that. Anyway, his Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been what? Faithful over a few things. But I want to get the result of this without being faithful over the few things. I heard a guy talking from it was like 1914 or something, way back. And he was talking about immigration. And he said, we've always had immigration. He said, matter of fact, back then it was free immigration. You could just show up. He said, but the difference in the immigration then and the immigration now is the immigration then was you came to work. The immigration now is you come to get on welfare. And he says, look, even they know this. This cannot exist. But this can. Same way here, guys. We're not going to get it well done just by watching. This is a participation. This is a giving it all. Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. I believe we can have the joy of the Lord and all that right now. But let me tell you something. We can't even imagine what's going to happen on that day when we begin to get in our rightful place that we have walked in all this time. We can't walk in our wrong place and then all of a sudden we're going to be promoted and put into our right place. We don't even know what to do. That's why he's told us this is a training. We're training. Let me tell you something. The way that you practice will be the way that you play. What we do here is going to matter what happens there. Time is something that we cannot get back. Yahweh will redeem our time, but we don't get that time back. And what we do with our time is going to make a big thing of everything of what happens on that day. Is the time that we have right now. So our question to all of us is, what are we doing? And I'm not saying you've got to run around like a chicken. I'm not talking about that. But what are we doing? Are we staying focused for that day? Because that's what it's all about. If we're not keeping our eyes focused on that, we'll get way over here. And we'll think everything's fine. And guess what? Everybody's wrong but me. Now all of a sudden, I'm just not receiving anything at the ecclesia. That's because we're not giving. I just don't hear it anymore. I don't have the doodaddies anymore. Well, we can get the doodaddies doing anything. You can get the doodaddies by being sweat and getting in front of an air conditioner. That'll give you the doodaddies. They ain't got nothing to do with God. So we can't be looking for these. It's for that day. That's all that matters. Glory to the Lord for that day. Character of God in our life for that day. And for today. Because what we have here is going to matter what we get there. We're practicing. Used to just, I ain't going to say what we used to call it, but we would just kind of, hey, we're going to run a mile, okay. And these other guys are putting everything into it. What do you think is going to happen? Tell you, when I played, that guy didn't go into the locker room and take a shower when everybody else did. He stayed out there. Because those coaches, my coach lived right across the street from the school. He didn't have to go anywhere. He'll stay out with you all night. And they call it moonlighting. And you would have to roll, get up, run 5 yards, roll, get up, and do that however many times up and down the field. That's 120 yards from one end of the end zone to the other end of the zone until he said stop. Now, if that was to happen to us right now, we'd say, whoa, I got to do something here. But because something may not happen immediately when we're doing that, we think everything's fine. Lord, let the righteous smite me now. Y'all understand what that means? Somebody tell me, love me enough to tell me the truth. Hey, wake up. Because when that day comes, there ain't nothing worse than you've got somebody who's on your team or who's supposed to be standing with you, and they have no idea what a play even is. They don't even know what to do on a play. You know what happens? The whole team gets affected by it. But let me tell you something. That guy is going to be sitting his butt on the bench. And may even get, God forbid, kicked off the team. You can't kick my son off. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, that joy, enter thou into that joy, that joy, that joy. And let me tell you something. We can't have the attitude that I just want that all for me. And I understand that, yeah, but I want to do this here because I love God. That's when we started with the very first part here. To love the Lord thy God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. If we don't have that, we're wasting our time with all the rest of it because our heart is wrong. Do this because I love you. We've said this a million times. Dick, I'm not going to break into your garage and steal one of your cars. You know why? I love you. And he's got some beautiful cars that I would like for my glory. Somebody said, man, look at you, styling, profiling. Don't matter. I love him. I'd take your car, Corey. I got that little white one there. You styling, you drove it the other night, didn't you? Uh-huh. You, all that glory. You had your window down, you had some tunes going? No AC. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That car's gone. All righty? Let me finish up here. Won't keep us too long tonight. Let me see. Let's go to Ephesians 5, 1 and 2. Be ye therefore followers. There's nothing wrong with being a follower. But of who? Of God. Followers of God. As dear children. And our question to us is, what have we been following? And again, I'm not beating you up. I'm not rebuking you. I'm warning us, me included. What are we following? What has gotten our attention? Hopefully nothing. And there's nothing wrong with having things or doing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something that would say, you really believe that there's a devil? After you enter all this down? I'm like, followers of God as dear children. You know it says dear children, not bratty children? Yeah, you let God turn around on that bratty child, see what happens. Oh, we're calling, what is it? DCF. Dumb, crazy fellas. All right, go to verse 2. Followers of God. And walk in what? Love. And love is not that everything's hunky-dory, everything's fine. Remember I said, let the righteous smite me? That's love. Will you love me enough to get my attention? This whole ministry was based on, years ago, it was called Wake Up Ministries. Now, why do you think that was? Because somebody's got to love us enough to wake us up from our slumber and doing everything halfway. In sports, they say 90% of the time when you get hurt, it's because you're not going full speed. You're going through the motions. And somebody coming full speed is going to hurt you. And here's the thing, guys. When we're doing things halfway, it may be somebody that's going full speed that may run over you and not even know it. Well, I don't like them. They've offended me or whatever. Well, all they're doing is doing what they're supposed to be doing. If you were doing that or I was doing that, that wouldn't happen. But when we get slack and we just kind of go through the motions halfway, somebody who loves God more than us will run right past us and maybe run over us. Or maybe even grab it and say, come on. Then we get mad at them. And what they're trying to do is say, come on, let's get a well done together. Come on, I need you, you need me. All right? Walk in love as Christ also have loved us and hath given himself for who? For us. Now, how did Christ love us? It says it right there. And hath given himself for us. That's how he loved us. Let me tell you how I love you and you love me? By giving ourselves to us and to one another. That's how we do it. And watch this. Even if we don't get anything back from the person that we're giving to. Because what we've done then, we went back to the first when we're talking about, I want the glory, I want to be commended, I want this. All of a sudden we're back there now. No. The way that Christ loved us, giving himself for us, listen to this, an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet smelling savor. Let me tell you something. God, Yeshua, loved his Father so much. Case closed. He loved his Father so much, he would do whatever he said. And not even question it. The only time that's even written down to where he was even like, when the Satan started rising up, and it wasn't the guy on the Christ or whatever with the no eyebrows walking around like that. It wasn't that. All right? I don't know what that was. It looked like something from the day. When he came to where he knew what was going to happen to him, and he went into the Garden of Gethsemane, which means wine press. It was a pressing. It got tough, guys. It got tough. Even Yeshua had to deal with that. He even learned obedience by the things that he suffered. Yes, he suffered. Yes, he had to deal with that. He said, guys, you've walked with me all this time. I've done miracles in front of you. I've changed your life. I called you. Look what I've made you. I made you fishers of men, not just fishermen. Look, I'm teaching you the way to get an immortality. Can you just pray with me a little bit? Sure. All of a sudden, it's about them. And Yeshua had to come to a place. Father, I ain't doing this, telling you that right now. Look at them over there. They don't even give a crap about me. They won't even pray with me. They won't even stay up with me. He said, this is tough. If there's any way in this cup pass, but I'm not a quitter, because we learned that quitters never win and winners never quit. He said, nevertheless, I'm doing what you want. Let me tell you something. You better believe that he was resurrected. You had better believe it. Because when it comes to that toughest time, and he had to deal with the real Satan, he wasn't looking for the glory of himself. Well, if I do this, you promise I'll be King of Kings and Lord of Lords? Because even when he comes and rules and reigns, he comes back and gives it back to the Father. So it ain't about him. It's about loving the Lord thy God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. That's why that has to be numero uno to the keys in everything that we do. I'm doing this because I love God. And I want to do this with us because I love y'all. Not if, well, if I do this, then maybe I can get them. No. Even if I don't get anything back. Because ultimately, I'm doing it because I love God, period. That's our goal, to love the Lord thy God. Walk in love as Christ also loved us and hath given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to God. There's a word we taught years ago. It's called koinonia. Basically, the way that Apostle John told us to remember, it's like a coin, a kern. Y'all know what a kern is? It ain't that thing on the side of your toe, all right? It's a kern. It's a coin. It's used to do something. It's used to spend. We take money, spend. On who? On me. No. On one another, on somebody else, on our brother and sister. That's fellowship, guys. That's fellowship. That's fellowship. Yeah, it is a give and take. But really, it's a give and give because I'm giving. But sometimes we're in the glory for ourselves and we want to be the one that gives, and we won't take and receive from someone else because we get in pride. No, I don't want that. Hey, you still willing to give that thing away when no one else is around? You know what I'm saying? Hey, no. I'm going to humble myself and receive what you have to give because it's important that you give. Yeah, we're up here, we're giving, we're preaching, we're pouring our heart out. But guess what? You need to give. Maybe not here or whatever, but maybe. But you need to give. What we receive here, we need to give. Remember we talked about the other Wednesday about knocking the back doors of the barn out? God wants to bless us, not just to us, but through us. All right? It's like the hoarder show. You ever seen that? Good golly. That is unbelievable. And a sacrifice to God for a sweet smelling savor. Now, is that two? Okay. Number 5, one of the things that we need to do is Luke 18:1. And he spake a parable unto them that men ought to what? Always to pray and not to what? Faint. Now, I'm not talking about you're in your prayer closet 24/7. I mean, let's get it over, guys. Some of us got to go eat, right? But we are praying before we eat, all right? It's a mindset. Let me tell you something. I promise you, if we're focused in on the things of God, He'll speak to us. He'll speak to us. He sometimes may tell us to do things that we would never do. Why don't you give that guy $1,000? Get thee behind me, Satan. I do believe there's a Satan. Mess with my God, the manna. Oh, no. Hey, pray and not faint. We've been talking about enduring, not fainting, because in due season we'll reap if we faint not. And hopefully those are godly things that we have sown that we're going to reap from. 18:1. All right. Always to pray. Pray means to pray to God, ask, and worship. That just don't mean you're singing Him a song. We believe in worship. Worship is I'm gonna do everything I can to do everything He wants me to do. That's worship. Me want to be like Him. That's worship. Me want to be, well, me and my brother were close to this at one time, like Michael Jordan. You just seen this too, Ty. We were close. Guess what we'll do? We'll do whatever it takes to be that. If we can't do it, we'll at least look like we are. Styling, profiling. All right? That's 5. Go to Matthew chapter 7, verse 7 through 11. Here's another thing that we need to keep before us. The Bible says we receive not, first of all, because we ask not. And second of all, because we receive it to consume upon our own lust. All right? That's why we don't receive. And there's another reason why we don't receive. It's because we are a double-minded person. And the word says that let not this man, or woe man, think that he'll receive anything from God. Ew. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Go all the way to 11. For everyone that asketh, what? Receiveth. Now, there's a lot of answered prayer that God answers, but we don't think he answered because it ain't what and how we think it should have been answered. Well, I asked for this. Well, trust me. You ever heard a song by Garth Brooks, I thank God for unanswered prayers? When you see the girl that you were supposed to marry in high school and you see her now compared to the one that you did marry, thank God, right? For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh, what does he do? Findeth. But there's two sides to this. Everything is two-sided. What are we asking for? Because what we're asking for, we're going to receive it. What are we seeking? Because what we seek, we're going to find it. And listen to this, guys. Sometimes it finds us. I'm seeking over here, and all of a sudden, that ungodly thing I've been seeking over, all of a sudden it's found me. And to him that knocketh, it's going to be open. And our question to us is, what door are we knocking on? Good evening. Uh-oh. Wrong door. So even with this, we cannot get caught up in things that we're asking of, maybe not saying, hey, can I have that? But you understand, we can ask about something without asking about something. It's like this. Danny, I sure like that guitar. I love that guitar. That is a nice guitar. That guitar is one of my favorites of all time. I've always wanted to have one. Hey, I'm asking without asking. All right? So what are we doing that to? What are we seeking? Because let me tell you, what is important to us, we will take whatever it takes to seek it. There's a 4-letter word. It's called eBay. Oh, we'll seek it. We will seek it until we find it. And sometimes when we find it, I'm not going to get it. Because we enjoy the seeking part so much. Right, guys? Right? Yep. And where are we knocking? Because where we're knocking is going to be open to us. Let's stay focused, guys. Being obedient. Where are we at here? I think it's all the way to 11. Or what man is there of you whom asks his son, this is one we talked about a while ago, ask bread, will he give him a stone? Keep going. Or if he asks for a fish, ask a fish, will he give him a serpent? If ye then being evil know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your heavenly Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? God is so faithful, guys. He's so faithful. The word says, I've never seen the righteous forsaken or a seed begging for bread. I've said this a million times. Sorry for me repeating it. But we can trust Yahweh with the results, no matter what kind of circumstances we're in at the moment. If we're walking in obedience to him, we can trust him with the result. And ultimately, the result that we want is that day. I'd rather not have hardly anything here and have that. But he says, hey, I'll give you anything here as long as it ain't before that. Oh, you want to ask for those things? Okay. You want to knock at those doors? Go ahead. Door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3? Is it going to be yes, or is it going to be wah, 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 wah? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Monty Hall, wasn't that his name? What's his name now? Don't act like y'all don't know. I know. I'm saying who it is now. Who is it now? Wayne Brady? Yeah, Wayne Brady. Huh? I can't hear you. Let's make a deal. I knew that part. You want to come up and make a deal? All right. Is that 11? Yeah. Let's go to Matthew 26, 38 through 42. Then saith he unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. Keep going, 42. And went a little further, fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, see, he didn't stop there. Let this cup pass from me. I'm done. Let this cup pass from me. I can't take this anymore. Let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou. Keep going. And he cometh unto the disciples and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, what? Could you not watch with me for 1 hour? Tough guy? The big tough guy? Keep going. Watch and pray. Watch and pray. Watch and pray. This is another thing that we've got to keep before us here. Watch and pray, that ye enter not into temptation. Because let me tell you, if we're not watching and praying, we'll just walk right into it. You know, Lord's Prayer, deliver me not into temptation. We don't need him to deliver us. We'll go right into it. Pastor Johnny tells us that we climb upon the stool of success or whatever, of the glory, and we'll fall right off of it. Watch and pray that we enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed willing, but the flesh weak. What did I say, 42? He went away again the second time and prayed, saying, Oh, my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. Let me tell you guys, sometimes we got to deal with things and we feel like we're all alone. Here Yeshua poured his heart out, poured his life out, and the very ones that he was depending upon wouldn't even stay there with him on his toughest time. Hey, can you guys pray with me for an hour? But can you guys come to church and not be ready to go at 10 minutes till 12? I had to get this. Hey, I feel like I'm all alone. Here I am trying to obey God. Here I am, my Father, I'm trying to do everything you told me to do. And lo and behold, when it come down to it, I feel like I've been abandoned. I feel like I've been pushed aside. I feel like I've been used only because when I can do something from something. That's when the multitude comes. Trust me. That's the multitude. And they'll follow you till you quit giving and you start making demands and making them be true men and women of God. They'll leave you. They'll leave you. So even Yeshua was at this time of, man, couldn't you at least stay up with me for an hour? But we can watch wrestling for 3 hours on Monday night and get mad because it went off, or whatever it may be. And again, I'm talking to all of us. Hey, let's stick this out. Let's support one another. Because there may be someone that you love very, very dearly that may be going through this thing that Yeshua is going through. Probably not that, but they're dealing with something. They're going through something. And they don't need to be feeling like they're alone. And there again, we need to understand that, hey, we're not alone. We got the ecclesia. We got the Ruach of God. We got Yahweh. We're not alone. We're never alone. But let me tell you something. It's just like we talked about, things that we can serve. Love God, love God, love God. But one of the expressions of God loving us is you and me. So let's take in consideration. Hey, man, you got a few minutes? I just need to talk to somebody. Well, hey, think of this. That's all Yeshua was asking. Hey, can you guys just stay up with me? I'm struggling here, guys. I'm fixing to go through the toughest time of my life here. And bottom line, it's for their benefit. Isn't that amazing? What we do in this house, the word that Apostle comes and gives on Sundays and Wednesdays, it's for our benefit. It's for our benefit. It's to help to get us to the place that really, really matters, and it is about that day. So there again, we can't get struggle or distracted on whatever. This has got to be the most important thing to get to that day. And let me tell you something. On our behalf, trust me, that right there was one of the most important days that consider in our life. Because if he'd said, forget it, we're up the creek, guys. But because he was obedient and showed the way, this is how you do it. You die, you suffer, you die for that. Because really there's nothing to compare to that. He knew that, but he didn't just do it so he could get an immortality. He did it because he loved his Father. Listen to this. More than he loved himself. Now we're getting to what a real ecclesia is. Can we come to a place that we can love one another? At least as we love ourselves, which God's word tells us we should love our enemies that way. At least that. And let's go a little further and let's prefer one another. Let's really be the ecclesia. Because let me tell you something, if we really believe the ecclesia and we really believe that we are the body, I promise you when one part of us gets hurt, it affects the whole body. We will be affected. Just like when Yeshua went through that and they weren't even willing to stay up with him. Bunch of sissies? Right. What have we done or not done, right? They didn't stay up with him. Let me tell you, that affected everybody that's ever lived or ever will live. But he loved his Father. Even if we're at a place where I really don't like them. Well, do we love the Father enough to do it? And I promise you, if we love the Father enough, we'll love them. Might not be matured at that moment, but I promise you it'll come around. And some of the people that we think may be the biggest jerks or whatever may become our closest friends. Because love covers a multitude of sins. So all those things that just gets on my nerves, we don't even see them anymore because we love. The Lord thy God, our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and our neighbor as ourselves. And if we can love our neighbor as ourselves, how much more should we love the ecclesia? True? We shouldn't be loving our neighbors more than we love the ecclesia. I mean, if we got anything in common, it should be the life of Christ and his character in the ecclesia. That should be our bonding point. Not because we like watching football or whatever. All right? I hope you understood what I'm saying there. That word watch means to keep awake. Hey, hey, hey. Wake Up Ministries. Hey, hey. Wake up. The train coming. Huh? Oh, yeah. Wake up. It means to watch. I'm looking. I'm looking. I'm not like, I'm looking. I'm looking with purpose. I'm looking to find where's God. Okay, God, okay, yeah. I hear you. I hear the word that's come. Yes, we've got the revelation. Yeah. But it's not just, can't be just knowledge. We got to walk it. I see it. I see it. I'm watching. I see it. And I'm headed that way. To be vigilant. These are all the words for watch. To be vigilant. Let's do it. Let's be vigilant. To wake. To be watchful. To rouse from sleep. Now, how many of y'all have to bring your spouse a cup of coffee in the morning, crawling with it up like this to them before they arouse from their sleep? To stand them up from sitting or lying. Get your butt up! Get on out of here! Come on! We got purpose. We're not just taking up space, we got purpose. Listen to this. From disease. Here's your one. From obscurity. Hey, I can't see. Well, let's move somewhere where we can see. Reason when we can't see because we've got so much stuff that we've asked for and we've sought and we knocked on that door. It's blocked us. We can't even see this now. The family I was talking about, they can't even see that. For them to ask me, do I really believe? You're dumber than I thought you were. You're asking me that? Can't even see it. Wake up. Watch and pray from obscurity, from inactivity. From ruins, from non-existence, to awake, to lift up, to raise, to rise up again, to rear up, to arise again, to stand and to take up. There's a guy that's a fighter in the UFC, Colin McGregor, I think is who it is. He says, look, I'm not come here to take part. I've come here to take over. And he either did or is holding 2 championship belts at the same time. I don't know if he still got them both. He may, but I know he did. Hey, we're not just here to take part. We're here to take over. And we're going to do it together. And we're going to be, in the book of Revelations, those who endure to the end. We're going to endure to the end because we're taking over. We got a purpose, and it's for that day. And we're going to endure to the end, and we will get a well done from that. But there's no Lone Rangers. I need you. You need me. And then I put down here, of course, Wake Up Ministries. I got several other pages. I believe I'm just done. But I wanted to encourage us tonight not to get distracted. Keep focused here. And if we're off track, get back on track. Hey, there's a beam of light shining here. You can see it. Here it is. It's here. Come partake of it. Come join. Come, let's do this thing together. We're in this together. Because if we don't, we'll think everything's fine and we become lukewarm, and you know what happens then. So let's get on this thing. Let's walk this thing out, and let's finish the course that Yahweh has called us and give us the instructions and the revelation and the word of how to get to that point. He showed us the way. And we've got the word here, we got the revelation here, that we have no excuse not to make it, except the things that we talked about. It's all about me. And I just that, and I just that, and I don't get this, and I don't see that. Well, this ain't, that ain't. Hey, whatever it is that's blocking us from that, we need to dump it immediately. Because that train's moving, next thing you know, we may not catch up with that train. That ark may be gone. Hey, I'm building this ark. Yeah, you building that ark over there. Yeah, yeah, stupid. That's stupid. Yeah, that's crazy. Y'all don't see anybody else preaching what y'all are preaching. What are y'all, crazy? Y'all are stupid. Well, guess what? We're building the ark. And when that day comes, you better be in this ark. Or we're going to be no different than those that were saying it was stupid. And all of a sudden, when the rain come and the door shut, just like the 10 virgins, when the 5 were there and the 5 unwise came, the door was shut. Yeah, but get in the ark. There's protection, there's deliverance, there's healing, and there's a way of immortality and a well done for us to rule and reign with Yeshua on this earth. This is the place to be in it. Be in it and understand that that is the importance of it, and let it be so much priority. You say, I don't want to miss that. I don't. So let's finish this course. Don't get distracted. Let's keep these things that we talked about before us. I only went through like 5. So let's keep those things. Love the Lord thy God with our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and our neighbor as ourselves. Let's start there, and let's pray. Let's speak godly things. Let's seek God. Let's knock. Let's do all those things that He's called us to do, and understand and keep before us. This don't really matter. This is fine, dandy, but it's going to corrupt and die. Everything on this earth is going to corrupt and die. You know, you shall surely die. It's going to happen. That's what matters. So let's run that race to that, and let's complete it, and let's do it the way that God's called us to do it. By first and foremost, let's loving Him, and let's loving one another. All righty? Appreciate it.